Hi group, I had one of those days today where things line up and come together, and I just wanted to share about it because it was just three or so examples of how things can line up when we follow our intuition and stay true to what resonates with our heart. And one of the main stories is definitely about horses. So I know there's some people in here that aren't horse people, but I'm hoping that if you're gonna still stay and watch the video, that there's pieces of it that you can relate to. And again, just wanting to encourage everybody to really follow your heart, trust your intuition, and follow your own path. And the first thing that happened today that was really cool was I have a client who has she has a 10-week-old puppy that she's training to be her service dog. And so she brought the puppy with her, which of course a puppy is always great, the puppy smell and the puppy kisses. And when we were wrapping up, she was telling me how much she appreciated having learned some of how we're approaching working with our horses. She's done a lot of work with our horses, and she said that she has found that she's interacting with her puppy differently and allowing it a little more freedom, the chance to make a choice, but still giving it that guidance. So that was a very cool thing to hear, that some of what we're trying to do is spreading out. And another cool thing that happened with the client was with Missy, Dave's horse. And I went out to I thought that we were going to be using Annie for the session, and Missy didn't agree with that plan at all. And so when we went out, Missy was standing there staring right at us. And so I paused, because the horses have definitely taught me that sometimes they have a much better plan than whatever I've concocted. So we paused, and Missy came right up to us, and I was holding the halter rope, and she was really trying to put her nose in that. So we brought her in and let my young client work with her, and I brought Annie in so that we could have support and each, brush a horse, and I could show her with Annie some of the things that she could try with Missy as far as leading and making some requests on the ground. And it was a perfect fit. And I was telling my client a little bit about the story that I don't think I posted it in here, it's somewhere, but Missy had definitely made her wishes known, that she wanted to be more. Sorry, my dog is rolling around over here. What are you doing? She wanted to be much more incorporated into healing work. And one of the things that she did, I was scratching her on the chest when Missy was letting these needs be known. And she had put her head very gently on top of my head. And so I was telling this story, and I got to that point, and with where I was standing, she actually did that same thing again. She put her head right on top of my head. And as I was telling the story of what Missy had done, she was licking and chewing and yawning. And so it was a whole lot of validation on top of validation, and that was pretty cool. And the highlight for me of what happened today had to do with my red horse. And I think he was in the last video he was eating on the round bale while I was talking to you guys about, what was it, paralysis by analysis. And so I had been, we had our annual girls trip lately, and my sister and I were talking on the drive down there, and I was sharing with her some of the things that had been going on with Petey, who I refer to as my brown horse, and how well he was going and how much fun it was to ride him, and kind of get back a little bit into the world that I was in before. And one of the reasons that I'm not riding as I used to and interacting with horses quite the same way is all because of Sunshine because of my red horse, because he would say no. And I didn't want to have to get bigger with him. Hey, there's my dog. You can see his nose. or do, now stop. Do anything. We said, Zucchini, sit. Good. Do anything with him that could have hurt either of us. And actually, my brown dog here was the one that helped me to really be able to see and understand that my red horse was needing security, and he was anxious or apprehensive, or we won't tell him, but maybe afraid. And yet his reactions are very different, because with my dog here, I think he has or had a lot of anxiety, and how he expressed his discomfort was not, retracting, shaking, looking scared. It was getting big, getting loud, barking, going towards things. But giving him the opportunity to feel more comfortable has made a big difference in how he interacts and reacts. And so I've been spending a whole lot of time with my red horse, letting him release tension and trying to consistently listen to him and let him express his concerns. One of the biggest challenges that I have into or towards riding him is that if I am standing by his shoulder, all the way back to like his flank or where his hind leg would start, he shows that that's an uncomfortable place to have a person be by swishing his tail. And I've tried so many things over the years to stop his tail swishing. I didn't try hitting him, which had been recommended to me until the tail stopped. Just trying different things about moving him, not moving him, continuing what I'm doing, not continuing what I'm doing, until the tail would stop. And the tail just wouldn't stop. And with how I want to honor and respect what the horses are telling me, I felt really uncomfortable and kind of that I wasn't going to put a saddle on him when he was still showing so much discomfort around this area of his body. And so getting back to my story of the drive down to Kentucky with my sister, I was sharing her some of these things, and that, I had really made it okay if I don't ride him as I thought I would when I got him, because the main reason that I got him was because he was supposed to be an athletic enough conformation, put together well enough horse that I could do fancy dressage stuff with him. And again, the plan didn't go quite as I thought. And he taught me a whole lot about interaction and following the leads that the horses give us, more so than what trainers do or experts or whomever. And so, back to just, it's okay if I don't ride him. He has already taught me so much and got me to a much, much better place. And that's okay. If that was what he's here for and why he's my horse, that was okay. And so when I was telling Mary this, she said, well, it sounds like maybe Petey needs you for healing, and Little Horse, as I call him, needs you for security. And I just kind of thought about that, and it did make sense. And, just kind of filed it away, and we had our wonderful trip and came back. And today I had some time, and it was really raining hard, and I decided that I would bring him in the arena and see if he wanted a roll or just to hang out, because again, I mentioned in the video before that he was kind of letting me know he was ready to do something. And so what I did today, I thought that, I was just going to let him have a roll. We were going to hang out. because of the whole not comfortable around the body. He doesn't really like to be groomed as much as some of my other horses. And honestly, as much as I wish he would, because I love grooming. And so when I got him in the arena, I just got the idea and the impression. I thought, one of the things that I have brought back into my toolkit with Petey was lunging. For a while I had abandoned it because I thought that it didn't really have a place in what I was learning, or it couldn't be effective. And the hiatus that I took from lunging horses, I think, helped me be able to approach it differently enough, but keep some of the old skills or techniques that kind of were working for me, and be able to bring those together. And so I got, I left him still on his rope halter and long rope, and I got the lunge whip, and I was just asking him to move around me in a circle. And we did that at the walk for a while, and he started to lick and chew, which he doesn't always do when he's moving. And so I let him go around in both directions, and then I asked him to trot. And one thing that was very different, most of the time, and almost every time when I would ask him to trot before, he would pin his ears. And, just noticing and interesting, and all right, something's not comfortable somewhere. But today when I asked him to trot, he didn't pin his ears. There wasn't kind of a snitty face. Now, the circles were very, very far from ideal, because the goal, or the ideal when you're lunging a horse, is to have it arc softly around you, the horse, so that their body is curved towards you. And he, to the left somewhat, but especially to the right, which had always been a challenge for him, his body was not bent towards the circle. However, what I was going for was more just interaction, and letting him get more into a rhythm and kind of relax through that. It just, to the horse, I think being in a steady rhythm helps them relax and relate well. And actually, the last time that I had lunged him in such a fashion, anytime that I would take him to the right, he would go around a time or two and then throw his head to the outside of the circle, ripping the line out of my hand and leave. And a couple, sometimes I tried to not let him rip the rope, and it turned into a tug of war, and he always won. So that was a reason too that I had stopped that. And of course I didn't have Petey at that time, so I didn't lunge. And there was no arguments today. There was no, he didn't, although he wasn't bent the right way, he wasn't trying to pull that rope out. And there were a couple times where he tried to turn in, or to basically direct how our interaction was going. And in a way incorporating gentle strength, which is one of my favorite catchphrases, and what I like to help people tap into their gentle strength, whether they're working with horses or designing their lives. These two values, these two descriptors put together are really powerful. And so it was like with my red horse, it took me a while to get back to this gentleness and to develop some type of a rapport, consistency, earn some trust. And then I could bring the strength in of being the leader and directing our interaction, but with that gentleness and understanding, that test and that pushing the edge was his looking for security. Okay, who's going to look for the cougars, you or me? Or I'm always used to doing this, I'm going to do this, kind of reworking our whole pattern. And so it was just awesome. After a while, he stopped trying to direct our interactions and did a whole lot of releasing, licking, chewing, yawning. And I was even able to comb him for 45 or 50 minutes, which was absolutely amazing. There, every once in a while there would be a tail swish, but it was so cut down. And so the amazing part to have taken the time and the patience and kind of just staying true to whatever signs and signals come on the journey, and to put that together. And I'm really excited to see where this may go. It may end up now in me deciding to pursue riding with a little bit more inspiration, enthusiasm, and it may not, but it was just such a wonderful interaction, and the releases that he kept doing, and how soft he was in his eye. And every once in a while a little bit of that pushiness would creep in, because he will he will bite at you, or sometimes your skin will end up there if you don't make sure that you have a healthy boundary with him. That's one of his abilities, or his talents, is teaching people about boundaries. But he doesn't get to cooperate or interact in a lot of sessions. But every once in a while he asks, and he's right, and it's been great so far. So I don't quite know where this journey will go, but it was just one of those days where things were coming together, and all of the patience and the time and the lessons and the learning things is all coming together. So I just wanted to share, because it was such a great resonance day. And so I hope that you all had a great day too. And when you do have a great day or something, I'd love if you shared it in this group too, because I think it's nice to know that we can support each other, and a lot of us who are trying to live more in line with our intuition and with what resonates with our hearts, and deal with our, if you're an introvert too, or highly sensitive, or as like we like to call it, perceptive, that there is a way to harness the beauty in all these gifts and make a great difference. So thank you for letting me share with you, and I will see you soon.